Windows here on the Breakfast Show. You're listening to us, of course, on 89.3 Cool FM, smoothest place on your radio dial. It's time to link up and chat with our techie guy, Dr. Computer, AlexNeuman. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Jerry. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. I think we just found a way to stop that stupid woman.
And her little dog, too. Or
Yes,
was that another movie?
You are being recorded.
You know, but the thing is that is really, I mean, I don't have any objection to it coming up on the screen and saying so, but I do object quite strongly to the fact that they do it verbally.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is true. Of course, I'm recording because then I upload it as well to my different social media platforms and so on. And yeah, I mean, I should be able to hit record. We've agreed that we're going to record, and I can't start the recording before because then the music creeps in and I get a copyright infringement, strike. So how are you hearing me today? Do you hear me okay? Is the audio good?
Yeah, no, you sound good. You sound very deep, which is nothing,
Okay.
It's fine.
Because I just got these. These are the OpenComm Aftershocks bone conduction Bluetooth wireless headsets. After about a year and a half of working from home, close to 2 years from working from home, I was just sick of having the headset on my head all the time, no matter how light it was or whatever. But these are wonderful. And the thing is, there's nothing making my ears sweat or in my ears or anything like that, because as you can see, it's actually just touching the side of my head. It's not in my ear or over my ear. It's using sound vibrations on the bones of my skull to actually allow me to listen to you in full stereo if necessary. And the microphone is really, out of the way. It's almost like it's not even there. In fact, I just walked my dog for a few minutes earlier today, and for a moment, I completely forgot it was there. And since my ears are out, out in the open, I can hear people around me quite easily. They're wireless Bluetooth and they're NFC compatible, so I just have to put my phone near them so they pair up immediately. They also work with my computer. And I got them yesterday, so I'm testing out how long the battery lasts, but I'm hoping it's an all-day battery so I can just use it for work. But even then, it's got this fast charge ability. About 5 minutes worth of charge gives you 2 hours of regular use. So highly recommended. I'll send you the link
That's interesting because you don't actually have them sticking in your ears.
Exactly, or over my ears.
So what is the sound quality like?
Oh, it's pretty good. I was actually listening to music on it, and definitely it doesn't have the same range as over-ear or noise-canceling phones, but it definitely serves the purpose that I need it for, which is to work comfortably all day and to be able to listen to music in a fashion that's, I mean, if I really want to sit down and listen to music, I'm not going to be at my desk. I'm going to be, outside listening to a vinyl, which, by the way, I got another one on the way. It's a Kind of Magic by Queen. So that's on the way from Amazon as well. I'm going to make a point of listening to that over the weekend if possible. But yeah, I mean, if I want to listen to music right, I'll use, proper set of headphones. But these, for the purpose that I'm using them, I mean, if I want to walk or ride a bike or anything like that, I think they work wonderfully. You can pick up your...
Will they allow you, can you go water skiing as well? Because you probably, because you couldn't ride a bike before you got those? Or...
No, it's interesting. Now, water skiing, I haven't read if this is... what kind of water resistance it does have. I believe it does have like resistance to things like sweat and rain. I don't know that you can swim with them or whatever. It does promise
I wouldn't want to swim with those.
Exactly.
Because they have a microphone boom as well, don't they?
It does. It's really out of the way. You can barely tell it's there. And it's really comfortable, and it picks up audio very well. It says it's got up to 16 hours of talk time. So I'm going to be testing that out today, and hopefully it will give me 16 hours of talk time.
It's an interesting subject, these earbuds, because I have tried virtually every type of earbud going, and I've always sort of received them with enthusiasm, but I've never, ever got a pair to fit me properly until about, I guess must be getting on for about a year ago. And I bought a pair. I can't remember the exact number of the buds, but they're Sony. I think something like an MX1000. It's the equivalent in earbuds to their really good headphones. And these are incredible. They're the only earphones that I have been able to wear comfortably for hours without any issues. And the sound is really quite incredible. It really is. It's a full quality sound. And I swear, when they come in a great little case that, charges them up and whatever. But I'm so impressed with them that what I would like to do eventually is get they're actually over-ear headphones as well for winter. And they are noise cancelling. Extremely pleased with them. For the first time, I'm able to wear earbuds and be comfortable with them.
Yeah, I have a couple of earbuds, really good quality from Samsung, one of the latest models. But after 3-4 hours, you actually feel your ear being sore from having that thing in there or whatever. I haven't been able to wear them like the entire day. They do work well. They sound wonderful and whatever. And I actually use them if I want to go to the park or whatever, because you can also turn on and off a function that allows you to listen to the sounds around you. But still, I do enjoy these that I've got right now. They're about $100 or so. The list price is $159, but you can get them a little cheaper depending on where you buy them. But just the fact that I can wear them all day and sometimes even forget that I have them. I get up from my desk and the call still is going through. I walk to the kitchen and then I realize the call starts cutting up a little bit. It sounds a little bit garbled. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm wearing these. I'm not just hearing voices in my head, at least not at this time. So yeah, they're pretty good. Another thing that came in the mail that I'm going to be doing a review on. I don't know if you've seen these. The MX.
Alex, it's a box.
Yes,
it's a box. Oh my gosh, you're going to open a box.
It's actually already out of its box. It's a Linksys router.
That's the big thing. It's the box. It's nice.
Yeah, it's boxy, but it's good. It's got a couple of ports there for hooking up the network and storage, and so
that's the actual thing.
It is. This is the actual router. No, this is the actual router.
If I had that in my apartment, somebody would throw it away.
Well, it is heavy, so yeah, it's got I think about 8.
It's a router.
Yeah, it's a router. Just the whole thing is condensed into this single box. It's got, I think, like 4 radios and 8 antennas and whatever, all in just this single elegant little box that does mesh networking and everything else. And it goes up to.
Who makes it?
Linksys.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a Linksys.
The thing looking at that will worry me is because it doesn't have these antennas. What kind of area do you get on it?
About 550 square feet.
Yeah, but that's in a building made of paper.
I would guess so. I haven't tested it out yet, but I can tell you, I live on the 7th floor and I have one here in my home office, and I can use my Wi-Fi in the parking lot. So there is an open window in my office, which is what I use for lighting, but one of these can cover my home, which the walls. I used to have a router in each bedroom, and I can cover. I've tested. I can cover my entire home with just one of these, where I used to need 5 of the previous one. Like we discussed the WRT54 that you had first. Well, I used to have one in every bedroom. I can cover my entire house with one of these. I do have about 4 of them because I have them left over, so I use them.
Gimme.
I can lend you one for testing.
Gimme. I'm not a child at all.
No. There's an inner child in all of us. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a review on my website later, and they are promisingly fast. But the interesting thing is, I got to test them passing files around from one machine in my home to the other because my internet is not fast enough to overwhelm these routers because they can
Really?
handle up to 5.3 gigabits per second.
Really?
Yeah,
And can you
and
you can mesh those, I guess, yeah?
exactly. And the mesh software is like really easy to use. I'm guessing you've probably
Mm,
used
mm,
yours, and you just run the Linksys application and asks you a couple of questions, and 5 minutes later you have priority settings so you can prioritize certain
hmm.
devices. You can do child
You can give it to the
con
children?
no, that's another kind of radiation that you have to use, but for
Oh,
that. But
okay, just checking.
yeah, you can do some sort of like child control applications. You can use certain websites and so on. You
Hmm.
can turn some devices on and off so they have or not, access to the internet. So you have a lot of functionality on these devices, which
And
I'm
the
going to be
cost,
testing.
Alex?
Yeah, they are a little bit pricier, around $300 or so.
Hmm.
And the kit for two of them, I've seen it like in $600 or so. But the fact that you get something that will cover your entire home with a
Hmm.
single
Sure,
device,
sure.
and the speeds that you get and the forward compatibility, I mean, this is something that you'll probably be able to use with devices for 5 or 10 years from now. This is
Mhm.
Wi-Fi 6 compatible, but also backwards compatible with everything else. I think it's a very good value. And if I've noticed something about Linksys, they come out with these at a certain price point, and then by the next holiday season, they drop the prices real good. So it's something to look out for during the
Mhm.
Christmas season.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Now, I was watching a video on it yesterday, a sort of in-depth look at Windows 11. Have you got the ability to try it on your computer or not?
We can, in the sense that A, I have a computer that does meet the requirements. B, I can run it in a virtual machine. And the
Mm,
Windows 11 leak that came out was a beta version, or as you guys call it, a beta version.
mhm,
And it has less constraints on what can run and what can't. The actual update will very likely come out sometime in October,
mhm,
has been the subject of a lot of controversy, in the sense that Microsoft has specified that it will only run on computers that can actually do some of the things they want Windows to do regarding security. There's a
mhm,
whole bunch of stuff going on in Windows right now that is sort of behind the scenes and you don't see it all the time, but it's there, like the trusted platform module, which is a computer in and of itself that does all the security processing. There's
mhm.
a whole bunch of instructions that have to do with isolating processes one from the other, which prevents a lot of ransomware and bad malware from running, which also gives you the corollary. You have to take your hat off to all those hackers out there who write the ransomware that does work on Windows 10 right now, because it's really difficult for that to happen. So there's a whole bunch of security related stuff that Windows wants to make sure is mandatory on computers going forward if they're going to use Windows 11. The
Mhm.
thing is, you could right now take $5,000 of your hard-earned money and part with them to buy a Surface Studio 2, which is an elegant piece of kit
Mhm.
with, a really good screen and graphics and CPU that can, crunch numbers or do video or a whole bunch of things. And it won't run Windows 11 because
Oh,
it's a
really?
sixth gen. It won't, because it's got a sixth or seventh generation processor from Intel, and it doesn't uh, fill the requirements that Microsoft has said are their minimum CPUs.
Mhm.
But the thing is, that processor and processors from even the sixth generation of Intel core processors, we're now at the 11th right now, they do support most of the instructions, if not all, needed to implement all of this security on the operating system. So this, I think, is a somewhat calculated decision from Microsoft to say, you know what, we're going to support only newer machines so that people have more of an incentive to buy computers with Windows 11 installed, because we are making Windows 11 a free upgrade to everybody else. So
you can get a I'm not sure if it's an app on your computer, but I mean, I did test my computer, my laptop, yesterday, and it will run Windows 11.
And that's great to know. That being said, that very application you ran, it's been pulled from the Microsoft website, because they need to kind of adjust it so that it informs you better on the why. Because it was just saying yes or no. It didn't tell you exactly why. But one thing that some people have pointed out is you can buy a secondhand Apple Mac from about 2013 or 14 or 15. It'll run the next version of the Mac OS, the one that's, you know, designed for the newer M1 processor that they came out with and everything else.
But they have the advantage, don't they? Because they make their own hardware. I mean,
that is correct.
Microsoft has to run their software on everybody else's computer. It doesn't matter what make it is, you're going to be running Windows. So it's not so easy for them to manufacture machines that are going to meet those requirements. Whereas Apple, of course, they make their own machines and they make them compatible with their own software, and they have their own security built in. In a way, I find it a little bit refreshing that Microsoft are doing that are making the platform that much more secure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether my desktops, and also, of course, I would assume, I don't know if you know, that programs are going to have to be adjusted to work on Windows 11.
Yes and no. Some programs will have to adjust to some of the ways that Windows 11 makes the whole user experience better. For example, you've probably had to unplug your laptop from your external displays, and then all the windows get messed up and jumbled up on the remaining screen. And then when you connect it back, it's gonna be messy as well. It doesn't keep, you know, from one screen to the other. Well, Microsoft is going to fix that, and it's going to either minimize all the windows, or you can pick new layouts. The maximize menu, if you right click on it, you're going to have different layouts of windows that you can pick. So if you have like a big screen or a 4K screen or something like that, you can work with several applications more comfortably at the same time on the screen. That being said, a lot of those aesthetics and the way windows are handled and programs are handled and security is handled will definitely have the program developers trying to adjust whatever programs they have to these new either constraints or features on one hand. On the other, you're going to see a lot of games now being able to apply something called direct storage. Now, what is direct storage? If a game needs right now to load up a texture for a character's skin or a background on something that's going on in the game, it has to ask the CPU on the computer for the file where the texture is, so that it can then copy it over to the graphics card and put that on the screen. With direct storage, basically you're going to have a straight path between the graphics card and the game and the disk drive itself, so that it can pull these things off the drive without the CPU having to do any heavy work, which will make a lot of detail and richness in games available where it wasn't. But you will have to have either an NVMe PCI 3.0 or 4.0 compatible drive for this to work. So don't expect any games to have this until maybe the mid 2022 season, something like that, because it's going to take a long time for programmers to get, you know, savvy to the idea of doing this in their programs, and B, for enough people out there in the field to have something like this. I do have, from my friends in Kingston, they sent me one of those disk drives. It's one of those NVMe.
Came all the way from Jamaica. Lovely.
Yeah, and it's a 1 terabyte drive, and it's really fast, like 3.5 gigabytes per second. speeds. It's
What
going to be
size is
interesting.
that? It looks rather a small.
It's 1 terabyte.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a USB stick.
Yeah, and it's not a USB stick. It's an NVMe drive. It's an internal
Oh, it's an
SSD.
internal drive. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the smaller kind, because the classic kind is the SATA kind that replaces the actual hard drive on a lot of the older laptops and gives it a lot more speed. So yeah, you're going to be enjoying a lot more speed on these devices once these new generations of machines come in. But if you have an old machine that doesn't run Windows 11, maybe Yasmin's machine back behind you doesn't run Windows 11, don't worry, you'll still have support for Windows 10 up to 1,566 days from now on October 14th, 2025. So it's not like Windows 10 is going anywhere. One thing that Microsoft learned
It
is
doesn't help if you've just bought a new Surface, it doesn't work.
it doesn't, and it's looking bad. And people are saying that maybe Microsoft will backpedal sometime between now and October when a final version comes out. And I am sure that by November we'll probably see patches going around that will make it so that you can run Windows 11 even on unsupported hardware, because people are like that. It happened with Apple operating systems when they switched versions a couple of years ago. Some people were recently bought Macs, couldn't couldn't use the new operating system. So people out there made patches and workarounds to make that work. So I'm sure something like that will happen eventually. But what I do hope is that a lot of people will eventually upgrade, because I I'm it's interesting. I support people all day, companies of all different shapes and sizes, and I still see people running Windows XP on some of their computers. I just worked on a Windows 7 machine yesterday, which has not gotten any support or security updates for months now. I think people should really consider that if they're going to run a business on a machine, they should have an updated operating system. I see nothing wrong with running Windows 7 on a vintage machine that you want to play vintage games on or run vintage softwares on. People know me, I'm a sucker for everything that's vintage computing. But for serious business, I definitely think people should get the updated version of the operating system for security's sake.
I mean, tell us, I mean, just quickly, because we've got about 5 minutes to go, but just quickly, I mean, apart from this aspect of things, from the general user's perspective, what are they going to see that's going to be their improvement? Never mind what runs or what doesn't run, but for me sitting down and using the computer, what am I going to see, which is going to say, oh yeah, this is better?
Well, you're going to see a little bit more responsiveness if your machine supports Windows 11, because it will just be more finely tuned for the newer machines that do. You'll see slightly better aesthetics and little adjustments to the way that it works, such as the one that I described. When you unplug the machine and replug it back again to the monitor, your windows don't get all messed up or whatever. So you'll see a lot of minor upgrades and updates that look cosmetic, but in the long run help you a lot with your productivity. And you're going to be able to run Android apps on your computer. So if you want to run Instagram on your Windows machine, you'll be able to, but through the Amazon App Store. So you're going to have an Amazon account, which
why Amazon?
Because they partnered with
why
Microsoft.
Why not Windows? Well,
You can use.
Yeah, why would I want to go to the Amazon store to buy an Android app to work on a Windows machine? Why wouldn't I just go to either to Android, or why wouldn't I not go to the Windows store?
You will go to the Windows store and you will look for things like Instagram, and it will appear as a runnable application that you can use, but it will be pulled from the Amazon store. Just transparently, it'll look like you're on the Microsoft store, but if you pick an Android app, it'll pick it from the Amazon store, for which you'll need an Amazon account. Because right now, at this point in time, Microsoft and Google are not as friendly as they used to. They even had some sort of a agreement, pact or whatever, not to lobby against each other in Congress. That expired a couple of days ago. And now they came out with this, and they're partnering with Amazon. And, the Google Play Store is not the only Android store out there. There's the Amazon store, there's the Huawei App Gallery, there's a whole bunch of other alternative app stores, and you will be able to sideload other Android apps. Sideload meaning you take the installation package or APK file or whatever, and you just click it on your computer and it will install normally. So that's going to be interesting because it'll open up a whole bunch of possibilities. Like you can run Instagram on your computer and do all the stuff that Instagram does without having to go through an emulator or anything like that. So you're going to be able to do Instagram Live, for example, using your webcam on your computer, a lot easier than using some of the workarounds that are available right now. So that's going to be interesting to see how they implement that, and if it becomes something that people get used to, or some sort of gimmicky thing. Who knows?
Oh, well, Alex, as always, been very, very interesting and fun, of course. So we won't play any music, but I'd hate you to be
Struck by copyright.
Yes. I mean, just very quickly as we close, I actually made up a video when my mother passed away, and I used some of her favorite tracks of music on there. And of course, you go on and you can't play it on YouTube.
That is correct.
Which is all rather sad, because if I bought that for my own use, why should they do that?
Well, copyright law is tricky. One thing that you could try, if you ever want to do that again, do you know what a MIDI file is?
It's the thing you get from an organ.
Okay.
And I mean that in a very polite way, by the way.
Okay, a MIDI file, for those of us in the audience, for those of you in the audience who don't know, MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. And it's like a file that stores all the notes in a song, and then whatever device you throw it at figures out how to do that. Maybe you could use a MIDI file for the songs and not trigger the copyright thing.
Well, there you go. There's hope of that. Yeah. Alex, as always, we've got to go. Thank you so very much for being with us here on this morning's breakfast show. It's always a pleasure. And we'll be back with you next week at the usual time, all being well. And thank you for your adjustment today. It was very helpful.
Always glad to adjust myself.
Yes, and so you should.